Hi, everyone. I'm Sophie. I'm the data scientist from Eigenphi. And today I'm going to talk about the findings of our recent research on the MEV value allocation in the supply chain. So first, let's define what is MEV first. I think the hot topic in EthCC this year is talking about like the big firms are coming to the MEV market and doing the CFI DeFi arbitrage. So like if someone were to pay a bribe to the block builders to let them to bundle their transactions in the block or put their transactions at the top of the block, then they will have a high suspicion of doing MEV-related activities. So let's see what roles are involved in the MEV supply chain. So it involves like searchers and builders and validators. So if we want to value the MEV, like how it has been allocated in the supply chain, we need to know the source, like how much value those searchers has been generated from the market. And so there's a lot of talks and data like trying to figure out what value has been generated from like DeFi, CFI MEV. And I think the Frontier Research and also the SMG has done a lot of research on how much value it has been extracted from the DeFi, CFI arbitrage. It's not hard to identify the CFI DeFi arbitrage because the big firms use certain addresses. You can just find the address and see their activities on chain, and then you assume what they're doing on the CFI, and you can calculate on the value. But it's hard to do the DeFi MEV value estimate because those MEV bots on DeFi change their address a lot, and they change their strategies, like keep changing their strategies. So algorithms is needed to identify this kind of MEV activities. That's where we were doing it, and so currently the three famous DeFi MEV type includes the arbitrage in atomic transaction, the sandwich attacks, and also the liquidation. So it's all included in Eigenphi's product. So our MEV value allocation on DeFi were based on the three MEV types that we have been identified. So here is how a typical arbitrage transaction will look like. So it will needs to swap between at least two trading venues, and there needs to have a price difference between the trading venues, and those bots needs to have a surplus. Will have a surplus after the arbitrage circle back. This is how a feature of the sandwich attack looks like. So the attacker will targeting on the victim's swapping venue, and will do the front run before the victim transaction, and then doing a back run after the victim transaction to generate a profit. So here is a liquidation transaction looks like. It's also very clear. The liquidator repays the borrower's debt assets, and then in return it gets the borrower's collateral assets in a better price. So now let's talk about how much value that has been generated from those searchers. So the MEV value, actually the revenue has been highly dependent on the market. So if the market fluctuates a lot, the MEV generate more revenue. Looks like, so for example, like in November last year, when the FTX crashed, and then the money just flow from CFI to DeFi, and creates a lot of the arbitrage and sandwich opportunities. And also this year, in March, the USDC DPEG, and indeed creates a lot of opportunities for the arbitragers. And since April, with the appearance of the Jerry Subway sandwich bot, the MEV activities start to increase a lot. Like in May, with the boom of the meme coins trading, it creates a lot of opportunities for the sandwich bots. And just in May, a single month, MEV has generated $68 million revenue from the market. Okay, let's be clear. The searchers are not the ones that are involved in the MEV supply chain. So around like all the money that they generated from the market, they need to split a certain amount of the cake to the builders and validators. So let's see how the value has been flowed to in the whole supply chain. So here is the data that we have been calculated for the recent months. So it's it's from the June 11th to July 11th, and it's like for the recent months, for the 30 days, the searchers has been extracted around $20 million from the on-chain transaction, and you should be noticing that this is just based on the minimum amount because we're only considering the DeFi MEV. That means we only consider the arbitrage, sandwich, and liquidation. So based on the data and the investigations conducted by Frontier and SMG, they noticed that the CeFi DeFi arbitrage also, the value is comparable to the DeFi MEV. So you will expect this number to be like doubled or even more. But let's see, for all the values that have been generated, the searchers only left with almost $5 million left in the pocket, and the rest of the rewards flows to the builders and validators. But the builders only keep like $1.5 million profit in the pocket, and the rest flows to the validators. Looks like you can see the validators just gain a profit of $16 million revenue from the MEV market. And from the regular transaction, it's like $19 million. So it's like MEV accounted for almost half of the validators' income currently. So what's the MEV allocation market looks like 4 months ago at the beginning of this year, and how the situation has been changing from the beginning of the year? It can be so. Here is like the data we calculated this year from January and February. This is 2 months data. So the searchers gained a profit of $7 million in 2 months. But look at the builders' profit. The builders is like work as a non-profit organization. So it's like two months, only $0.2 million left for their pocket, and the validators get most of the money. So here I have separated with different colors of the transfer from the builders to the validators in black color and purple color here. Indicates whether for that block, whether there's a direct transfer from the block builder to the validator. So I want to mention is the builder's behavior pattern when they trying to communicate with the validators. So for those builders, for the MEV boost typical behavior, there will be a transfer at the end of the block from the block builder to the validators. That's a typical MEV boost behavior, right? But for those builders that gain zero profit, or they were subsidizing the validators, they may set the fee recipient of the block as the validator's address. So all the block building's income, including the priority fee and the builder's payment, it doesn't flow to the builders, just go directly to the validator's address. So based on the behavior between the builders and validators, we have clarified our data into 3 different kind of classes. So the first class is like the MEV boost typical behavior. So builders pays to the validators at the end of the block. And you can see from the data here, this class, the builders belongs to this class, has the profit has actually increased a little bit. So from the beginning of the year, it's only like $0.2 million profits, but now it's 1.5. Even though it's still like very small amount of the cake, but it's increasing. And the second class would be the builders. There's like for that block, there is no direct transfer from the builders to the validators. So the fee recipient is a validator address, and we don't see any information in the extra data of that block, which means that this kind of block is built by the validator without connect to the relay. This doesn't change too much from the beginning, compared with the beginning of the year. And the third class is what I want to talk about today, which means the builder set the fee recipient as a validator and leaves the messages at extra data. So you know that this is built by a block builder, but just to see the block and the fee recipient is just the validator's address. And we were decoding on the extra data and see which builders are doing this. So here's the results. Looks like the Beaver are the ones that are doing the most of this kind of action, block building. And the rest is like Titan, Blocksroot, and Builder 6.9. So they are the ones that were acting like that. So the action of changing the fee recipient as a validator, that means giving up everything for all the income from the block building to the validators. So this kind of action could be oriented from the two reasons. One is that the block builder is doing the trading themselves. So in the blocks, they do have the transactions that they were trying to gain some profit. So they don't care too much about the income of block building, and then just to generate profit from their own trading strategies. This is a possibility, one possibility. And there's another possibility that those builders are doing validators. So they're now separated, the same role. So we don't know. I think maybe the first situation could be more possible, but you cannot deny the possibility of the situation too, that the builders are the validators. So I think it's a good topic to investigate further. Okay, so that's all the data I'm hoping to talk, show everyone about the MEV allocation in the supply chain. But we have just read a book with a collection of all the interesting transactions. If you want to know some new MEV strategies, and you want to know some trading strategies like those bots were doing, and also some on-chain attacks, you can scan this QR code, and it will lead you to the booklet that we have just written with a collection of interesting transactions. So I hope you'll find some transactions that matches your interest. Okay, thanks for listening to my presentation.